לא, אני, כיוון שכתבתי את זה אז אהבתי זה מאוד, אמרתי משהו
Chodesh Tov Rabotai, Chazak Baruch. Interesting question that we've asked by one of our friends, not here today, but anyway, it's an important question. The question is, when a person drinks some alcohol, right? The question is he allowed to do tefillah? Is he allowed to pray?
No.
Or does he have to wait? What should he do? Should he do some sleeping, some calisthenics, some gymnastics? What should he do to get ready for the prayers, right? So the truth is, it says in Shulchan Aruch, this comes from Masechet Brachot, right? Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tzadik Tet. Over there it says like this, right? That if you drank a revi'it of wine, okay? So it says you shouldn't pray. What does that mean, pray? The Amidah. We're not talking about to pray, some other things. But the truth is that the Ramah says over there that also applies not only to the Amidah, also applies to the Kriyat Shema as well. Same thing. Kriyat Shema is Deoraita. It's even more important than the Amidah, So all the more so, Lichora, right? Kol Shekin, whatever. But that's what the Ramah says. It brings down over there. But anyway, we're talking about important prayers like this, Amidah, Kriyat Shema, which are the most important prayers that we have. So these things, once a person drinks a revi'it of wine, so the question is, how much is a revi'it, right? That's the question. So the truth is, that there are two different opinions about this, basically, There's the opinion of the Chazon Ish, which was very machamir, very big chumrah, and there was Rav Chaim Na'eh, who was also a big chacham in Eretz Israel, and he argued with Chazon Ish. He went according to the Pashut Pshat, the simple meaning of what the Shiurim are. You know what I mean? So the truth is that if you look in the Shulchan Aruch, when it measures things, like weight, things like this, what measure does it use, the Shulchan Aruch? It doesn't have kilos, there was no kilos at that time. Or there was no pounds, right? So what measure does it use? It uses the derhem. Derhem, yeah. So what is a derhem? What is this? What is this measure? So the truth is, it's an Arabic measure, that comes from Mitzrayim and all the Arab countries. It's called dirham. So the question is, how much is dirham? Today, do we know what this is? Right? How do we figure it out? Okay, so that's the question, right? How do we do it? So the truth is, that this has been a lot investigated in our times, quite extensively, How much is a dirham? Because this in the Shulchan Aruch is a very important measure. You know what I mean? We have to know what it means. So the truth is that there was this idea, before, like about 50 years ago, that dirham is about 3.4 grams. This was the accepted measure for dirham. And this is the reason why, right, when they made the measure of kazait, in the books, like we see today, kazait. If you do kazait of this, kazait of that, olive size. So we go by the weight usually. That's the way it is in those books, So it says over there, in the older books, it used to say like 30 grams, 30 grams is kazait. And then they went down to 27. If you notice, the newer books, they went down a little bit. Gave you discounts. Good, You'd like to get a discount, right? Who doesn't like discount? Yes, machloket, right? The truth is, so what happened was like this, right? That before, several years ago, as we said, right, they thought it was a little bit bigger. And then what happened was that there was this Ashkenazi guy, By the way, now this Ashkenazi rabbi, the Ashkenazim didn't live in the Arab countries, right? Right? But he went to Mitzrayim, this guy, he had the chutzpah to do this, and he investigated what exactly is the dirham, because they have a dirham today, until today, in Mitzrayim. In Egypt, they have, So the question is the dirham, first of all, you have to answer one question, right? Is the dirham of this time the same as dirham was 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago?
No.
Or did maybe they changed it? Right, that's the thing. So the truth is, that there's one thing we know about our brothers, the Ishmaelim, One thing we know about them. They're very traditional people, they keep their traditions. So they're so traditional, the Arabim, right, that they don't change nothing, Everything stays the same. So it turns out that the dirham has not changed. In the last 500 years, nothing has changed. Can you imagine? Same as it was before, right? They're very Masorati people, They keep Masorat. That's the way it is, right? When it comes to their language also, the language. That's why the Ibn Ezra says, right? If you want to know Lashon HaKodesh, right? Hebrew language. How should it sound? Who should you go to? To the Germans? To Russia? No. Go to the Arabs, right? They're the ones who know how to pronounce everything properly.
Syria.
Huh?
Syria.
Not only Syria, also Iraq, and also the other places as well. You understand? Syria is one example. But Iraq, the truth is, Iraqi probably is the best one. You know why? Because the Talmud was written there. You know what I mean? So the Talmud was written in Iraq, in Babel. You know. So over there, the way the Iraqi pronounce the Hebrew, that's the real Hebrew. That's the Masoret. You understand? Listen to them one time and you'll see, right? The Moroccans also not so far from that. Moroccans, Syrians, they're pretty close. You know what I mean? Not too far. Right? All the Sephardi countries over there. So that's the way it is, you know. So Ibn Ezra says, if you want to know what's Lashon HaKodesh, go to the Arabs and you listen to them, you know. So, you know, they have like everything. The Chaf, the Het, you know, Het. They have Kaf, Kof. They have all these differentiations. They have. That's the way it is, right? Until this day, they have the same thing. They don't change nothing. You understand? This is the way it is. So you want to know how to do Hebrew? Go to them. That's why, you know, there's a Siddur that was written by Rabbi Mazuz, you know, the Rosh Yeshiva, the neighbor, right? So he has a Siddur called Ish Matzliach. You know? Why is it called Matzliach, this book? Ish Matzliach?
His name.
Rabbi, you're interrupting. Don't heckle. So it says, right, Ish Matzliach it's called, you know? Why is it called Matzliach, by the way? You know what's Matzliach, right? Successful, you know? Like the rabbi said yesterday, you know, make a lot of money, be successful, you know what I mean? But that's not, it's not because of that he calls it Matzliach, to be successful. His father's name was Matzliach, you know? His father's name was Matzliach Mazuz. This is the reason why he calls it Ish Matzliach. Not because to be successful. That's not the idea. So anyway, right, it says over there, it tells you all the way to pronounce every letter in Hebrew. You know how it's pronounced. If you look in the beginning of the Siddur, the Hakdama, over there tells you how to pronounce every letter. You know why? Because we the Sephardim, we have a Masoret for every letter, how to pronounce it properly. Everything. There's no guesswork, you know, like, oh, maybe, no maybe, what maybe? What? There's Sadik, you know, there's Samech, you know, there's Het, there's Kaf, there's Kof, there's Kaf. Everything is different. If you want to know how to do it, go to the Arabim and they'll teach you. Right? If they don't kill you first, right? Be careful, you know? They shouldn't put a knife in your back, right? God forbid. You know what I mean? So be careful, but you know, listen to the way they speak, because that's the real Masorah. Okay, so getting back to what we said, right? The Arabim are very traditional people. So that's why the dirham by them has stayed the same for 500 years, 1,000 years. Nothing has changed. Nothing new happens. And Chadash Tachat Hashamash, right? That's what Shlomo Melech said, right? Nothing new over there by the Arabim. So this is the reason why Rav Chaim Na'eh, you know, when he made these measures, what's Revi'it, what's Kazait, how much is this? He has a book on this that he wrote, you know, Rav Chaim Na'eh. So he did everything according to the dirham, you know, that we have, that it's in the Shulchan Aruch, the dirham. So this is the way we measure, you know, the weight is measured by dirham. So this is why Rav Chaim Na'eh, when he said how much is Revi'it, you know, so how much did it come out by him? By his measurements, came out very, very small, like 3 ounces. You know, pretty small, right? It's like a small cup. So 3 ounces is a Revi'it according to this measurement, according to the Shulchan Aruch, Rav Chaim Na'eh. Chazon Ish, you know, he came and had a different system. You know what I mean? He had a different system altogether. His shiur comes out to be much bigger. You know why that is? Because he came up with a big chidush, like a brainstorm, you know? The rabbi, by the way, he didn't like this chidush at all. He was like, where did he get this from? Where did he get this idea from, such a thing like this? You know what his idea was? Whatever the measure comes out to be, according to the Talmud, you know what we should do? Take a guess. Double it, you know? Double. Do double. What's the idea to do double? Why do double? Why? It came out to be 20. Kazait is 27 grams, so he's telling you double it, make it 50 grams. What? How is that, right? What's going on? So the reason why he said to double it, you know why? There is logic to this, by the way. Everything that Gedolim say, the big rabbis, you know, there's logic to everything. Elu ve'elu diberu him Chaim. You know what I mean? Don't make fun of anybody, any big chacham that says something. Each one is saying the words of living God. There's machloket. Don't say, oh, this one is for sure right, this one is for sure wrong. Who told you? Who are you to judge between them? Yavo shlishi ve'achriya benehem. Who are you? What, you're shlishi between them? What are you being machriya? So, the reason why Chazon Ish is said to double it, you know why? Why that is? Because he said, you know, we see in the nature, in the teva, that things are getting smaller all the time. You know, everything is smaller. In other words, the egg of the chicken, you know, like 500 years ago, was probably double the size that it is today. And by the way, we see this today, how small the eggs are, you know. They're like tiny, you know. They look like pigeon's eggs, some of them, you know what I mean? You think it comes from a pigeon. So this is the reason why the Chazon Ish said, you know what, double it, because probably, it was 2 times bigger in those days. That's the whole thing, it's double it. That's what the Chazon Ish said. But Rav Chaim doesn't agree with this. What he said was, listen, why double it? We have Shulchan Aruch Derhem. It says Derhem. What's there to double? You know what I mean? We're sure about it. You know what I mean? Derhem. So what's there to double? This is the reason why the Rav Chaim didn't accept the sheet of the Chazon Ish. So who's Be'emet right? The truth is, the Chazon Ish had an answer for this, by the way. Don't think the Chazon Ish didn't have an answer. You know what his answer was? But the truth is, the answer turns out, B'chora, it wasn't correct, by the way. Right? Mechila michvodo, right? I apologize for his kavod, but it wasn't correct. You know what he said, Chazon Ish? He said, the derhem that says in the Shulchan Aruch, who knows, maybe they changed it, maybe it's different now, who knows? But this Ashkenazi guy, this rabbi, went to Mitzrayim and he checked it. He said, no, they didn't change it. He found out the truth is it wasn't changed. It's been the same for 1,000 years. So therefore it comes out, right, that Rav Chaim is the correct one. The Shita of Rav Chaim is correct, more correct, according to Halacha. So therefore the Revi'it is not 5 ounces like the Chazon Ish says, double. It's 3 ounces. 3 ounces, that's what it is, exactly, on the spot. That's what the Revi'it is. So therefore, right, when the Shulchan Aruch says, if you drank Revi'it of wine, right, don't pray Amidah or don't pray Kriyat Shema, what is it talking about? 3 ounces, according to Halacha. Chazon Ish is bigger, much bigger. Okay.
What about if you don't pray?
Yeah.
And let's say you go
It's nothing. Oh.
It's not that strong.
He's from the old generation. You know what I mean? It's for him. That's nothing. Oh, very good. So you know what the answer is to this question?
We're not talking about grape juice, we're talking about Georgian wine.
You know what it is? I'll tell you something. What you're saying is very, very true. The truth is that today 3 ounces of wine is like nothing.
Even in whiskey.
Okay, it's nothing. But you know what it is? I'll tell you what the story is. That they say that the wine in those days was much, much stronger. The wine in those days was like today what we have like whiskey almost. Like Shem Menachem. Can you imagine? It was so strong, the wine, they had to mix 3 parts water and 1 part of wine, to get it to drinkable. Otherwise, you couldn't drink it. It was too strong. Can you imagine? This is how strong it was in those days, the wine. So things have changed, you know what I mean? But the halacha, the truth is, halacha remains the same. You know why that is? Why is the halacha the same? We don't really change the halacha regarding this. You know why that is? Because also, it's true. The wine has also gotten weaker. But you know what it is also? We also got weaker. You understand? The teva is working on everybody. You know what I mean? So just like the wine is weaker, we're also weaker. So we're getting drunk much easier today than it was before. Okay, not you, but maybe your son. You know what I mean? It's not the same anymore. You understand? The old generations were stronger. You know what I mean? Okay, whatever. This is the way it goes. But whatever. I mean, we're doing approximation here. Nothing is precise, 100%. You know what I mean? But this is the halakha, basically, more or less. But I'll tell you something interesting. That if a person really drank like 3 ounces of wine, okay, and he felt like it's nothing, like he said, it's nothing. So if he didn't feel nothing, he can pray, In other words, if he feels totally sober, he doesn't feel anything drunk at all, he doesn't feel nothing. So then he can pray, because for him it was nothing. It was like a glass of water, That's, you're right. Okay, you're right. Okay, so that's true. But anyway, right, this is the general halacha, This is the general halacha. We have to alter a little bit sometimes for different people, Different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? Okay, all right, that's true. Okay, but anyway, right, getting back to what we said. So it says in the Shulchan Aruch like this. If you want to say something? I'm sorry.
My question was, let's say if you don't drink, if you drink and you can't pray, what about the Chas v'Shalom, you can miss the praying?
Oh, yeah, this is exactly the question of the Talmud. The Talmud asks, right, this question. It says, what? You should wait till he misses the prayer time altogether. Mincha time is already over now. That's it. We're not doing like Rabbeinu Tam, most of us, Sometimes we do, Sometimes we cheat a little bit. But most of the time, we don't want to do like Rabbeinu Tam, you know what I mean? Yeah. Unless the rabbi tells you you can cheat. Okay, if he tells you to cheat, you can cheat. Okay, no problem, You got a hectare, what can I tell you? The Hasidim, by the way, you go to Borough Park, until this day, they're doing Mincha until Rabbeinu Tam. Who can say nothing to them? Who can say something to them? They're doing according to Halacha. What's the problem? This has been their minhag for hundreds of years. What are you going to tell them? Oh, well, what happened to you? What happened? I've been 400 years doing like this, What's going on? What happened to you? This is the thing, right? So nobody can say nothing about that. But anyway, getting back to what we said, right? As we said, if the time is going to pass, okay? Says the Shulchan Aruch, okay, let it pass. What can you do, Let it pass, and then, right, do 2 arvit. Or, if you didn't do mincha, do 2 arvit. Do a makeup, do ashlama. That's what you do. That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch.
And what about if it's arvit?
Do 2 shachrit, right? Not 2 shachrit korbanot, sukkah zimah. Just amidah, Of course. Not going to do 2 hours of prayers in the morning, right? Not like that, right? 2 shachrit.
So when you said 2 amidah, it means you finish the amidah and you go again.
Right away, you go into the next amidah. Right away. Techef. The lechatchila you have to do right away. Just the way it is. Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah, of course, same thing, of course, yeah. That's the way it goes, right? So therefore, right, even if you're going to miss the prayer, you should wait. But here's the question, right? B'diavad. Okay, let's say he did pray. He drank a Rabbi, and he said, like our friend, he said, hey, nothing. Let's pray, B'diavad, if he prayed, right? Yatzai Dechova, his full obligation? Yes, you don't have to go pray again. Yatzai Dechova. But here's the thing, right? Says the Shulchan Aruch, that's if you drank Rabbi 3 ounces. What about if you drank 5 ounces? Like you did Chazon Ish. Oh. That's a lot already. You did more than Rabbi. So then what happens over there? So says the Shulchan Aruch, if you're stable enough, your mind is stable, you can go to the Melech, the president, and talk to him. You know what I mean? By the way, president is also not stable today. That's something else. I'm not talking about that. He's more unstable than anybody else. But we're talking about a regular president. You know what I mean? That's a different thing, right? A normal president. So if you could go to the president and talk to him, and not make a jackass out of yourself, excuse my expression, you know what I mean? So then you're allowed to pray. You know what I mean? B'diavad. In other words, if he prayed b'diavad, yatzai dechova. B'diavad. But if he's not in enough good shape to speak to the president, you know what I mean? He's going to be like, how are you, Mr. President? What? What are you talking about? What, you came here, what, you drunk? You came here drunk to the White House? What happened to you, So there, you know what it says in the Gemara, right? Tfilah tov wa to'eva. It's an abomination, his prayer. Not accepted. Lo mekubal. So therefore he has to pray again. This is the halacha. Understand? So there you go, right? That's the way it works. So we'll just say one more thing and we'll stop here. Right? We want to do Arvit, but the Shem on time. One more thing, right? It says in the halacha over there regarding this, the Shulchan Aruch. So, okay, as we said, right, if you're inebriated, you're drunk, whatever, you shouldn't pray, lechatchila. What about Birkat Hamazon, by the way? What's the halacha? Are you allowed to do Birkat Hamazon when you're drunk? What about you have like a nice seudah, with some schnapps, had a couple of whiskeys, arak, and some arak, right? 2 araks you put down, 3 araks, and now you feel like, ooh, your head is spinning like this, right? Are you allowed to do Birkat Hamazon? That's the question, right? So says the Shulchan Aruch, you're allowed to. So what does that mean? Even though Birkat Hamazon is from the Torah, they're right down, but nevertheless, right, when it comes to Birkat Hamazon, you're allowed to do it when you're inebriated. So what's the nafkamina? Big nafkamina, right? If you had your Seudat Purim, right? Everybody drinks, right? The Seudat Purim. You're allowed to do Birkat Hamazon. You don't have to wait and say, oh, let me wait for a few hours. If you wait for a few hours, you go to sleep, you'll sleep until the whole night, and you'll lose for Birkat Hamazon. Don't wait for nothing. Even though you're drunk, say Birkat Hamazon now, because you're going to lose it afterwards. You're going to fall asleep. Then you won't catch it anymore. So Birkat Hamazon is something else, you see? That's the thing, You're allowed to do it when you're drunk a little bit. Even a lot, Unless you're like Lot, If you're like Lot, you're not going to be able to do Birkat Hamazon, right? Forget about it. Even the woman's Birkat Hamazon you won't be able to do. You're the short one, you know what I mean? The woman's one. You won't be able to do that one either, if you're like that. So that's what we're saying, right? So, okay, so one more thing, right? So the question is asked like this. How does a person know that he's sober, he's sobered up, he came back. He came back to reality, you know what I mean? How do you know? How do you feel? How do you gauge that? You drank, right? You want to now come back, and do Amidah, Arvit, whatever it is. How do you know you're sober? How do you feel that?
By his walking, by state.
Oh, God bless you. Okay, so you know what it says like this? It says, it's close to what you're saying. Close to what you're saying. It says like this, right? That if you feel, that you're straight, you're allowed to pray. You feel that, your head is already straight. That's it, You stepped a little bit, whatever it was, right? You took a big walk, somewhere, whatever it is, you did something. If you feel now that you're straight, you're allowed to pray. Even though you drank 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, whatever it was, it goes according to how you feel. This is the way it is. Baruch Adonai Leolam, amen ואמן. רבי חנניה בן עקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנראה מראה אדוני חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידין. Rabbi, you want to pray? Come on.